Welcome into the State's Champs studio for episode 6 of Extra Innings. I'm Gage, DeAngelis. Beside me, my battery mate, Robby, Elliott. Robby, how we doing?
I'm doing great, Gage. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. We're about a month away from state finals. We got a couple of days until districts, if you will. This episode, we have some game recaps. We're going to look at some Division III, Division IV schools that we think are going to go pretty deep into the playoffs. And Robby, we're going to take a look into what our districts are going to look like, some of those key matchups that we're looking into.
Oh, yeah, some very good districts here in the state. A lot of districts that are going to feature some top teams early on, so it's going to be fun to look at those and talk about, who we think might come out of those, and just overall looking at how good some of these teams are that are going to match up in the district playoffs.
Absolutely. But first off, we do have a little bit of a recap. We've got Blissfield versus Summerfield. Robby, take it away, man.
Yeah, so Blissfield came out with this one with a 7-0 win. Dove Eatson went 7 innings, had 3 hits and 4 strikeouts in this one. Ethan Steins, he had himself a day. 4 for 4 on the day, had a double and a triple. Kip Fisher, also somebody to highlight. He went 3 for 3 in this one. Blissfield moved to 14-4 on the year, and this is one of those teams we talked about, smaller schools, right? This is one of those teams that's not in our top 5 for small schools, but I definitely think hovers around between the 8 and 6 range. They're a pretty good team with a lot of promising talent, we'll put it that way.
Very good. Is this a team that you're going to see go a little bit deeper into the playoffs this year? 14-4 record.
I would say because those districts, are so tough, some of them, even at that Division III, Division IV level, if this team gets the right matchup and has the right team lose, I definitely think we could see them, move on and move farther past maybe than they had expectations for.
Now, up next, we do have a west side of the state matchup. We have Allendale versus Spring Lake. Robby, what you got on this one?
Great game here. Spring Lake and Allendale. This was a 2-1 series that Allendale did take, and in this one they won 10-0. Justin Kavarick hit an RBI triple down the right field line, one hopping the fence here to give them an early 2-0 lead. And then Parker Thurkett came up in the exact same inning, and he had himself an RBI single to give them a 3-0 lead early on in this one. But the Bats, they didn't stop rolling. Allendale has done a great job getting to the deeper part of this pitching rotation, and they ended up run ruling this one. Michael Hurlbutt singled to give them a 10-0 victory. Spring Lake has had a tough time with depth in the pitching rotation. They have a great ace, Zane Stahl. He's a Louisville commit. But when he isn't on the bump, they've had a hard time completing series. We talked about a lot about that in the last episode, getting that second and third win after you have your best players go out on the mound, or maybe your best hitters perform well in that first game. But Allendale, they took 2 from a very good team. Another one of those teams. If they run into the right teams, I could see this team also getting to a regional, maybe even getting past, maybe into Michigan State.
And up next, we do have a downriver duel for everybody. Trenton versus Southgate Anderson, game that we really enjoyed watching here. Robby, what do you have for us on this one?
Yeah, Southgate Anderson coming into the league undefeated. Caleb Kidd took the mound for the Trojans, looking to be the thorn in their side, and he did just that. He struck out 7 in 7 innings pitched, won a complete game. When that happens in baseball, you got to tip your cap because that doesn't happen all the time anymore. A lot of, pitchers getting restricted innings, let's put it that way, but he's dueled all year. The Henry Ford commit, he's got a no-hitter on the year and has been carrying this Trenton Trojans team pitching-wise. Rafael Valdovinos, though, he singled to give them a 2-1 lead in the third, and all things were looking right for the Titans, and then the 4th inning came up, and the Trojans broke this one open. Davis Gray doubled to tie it up at 2. Carson Boyke would come up with a chance to take the lead in that exact same inning, and he hit an RBI single to make it 3-2, and the onslaught continued. This inning was a big one for them. Talon Van Hovel singled to make it 4-2. And then Zach LeMay came up, the catcher, who had a great day defensively. He doubled to make it 5-2, and that would be our final. Trenton's starting to get really hot now with a big confidence booster in this win. You got to like what you see from the Trojans, especially now with the leagues coming up to an end and the postseason coming on. We're going to talk about it a little later in the show, Gage, but Trenton is going to see Southgate again. So the Titans are going to get their chance to, because they've played twice now and they have split the series. So somebody's going to come out victorious in this one. So that's going to be a fun one to cover all year long.
Yeah, and as far as this one, we were able to catch up with Kill Kid, correct, at the end of the game?
Yes, we were.
Yeah, today was a huge day for us. Just pounded the mitt best I could. Huge day by Zach LeMay, threw a guy out on the bases. Way to step up for him as a sophomore behind the dish. Guys made a lot of great plays in the field. I mean, couldn't do it without them. So great day, huge win for us.
We're going to highlight some of those Division III, Division IV teams. Right here we have that Algonac, Mount Pleasant, Sacred Heart, Beal City, Ottawa Lake Whiteford, and Inland Lakes. Those Division III, Division IV smaller schools that we don't necessarily talk about a lot. We're very heavy on the D1, D2. But what do you have here for Algonac, Robby?
Yeah, when you have a duo at the top of your rotation in Josh Kasner and Bryce Simpson, you're going to win a lot of ball games. 16-3 as of right now is Algonac. I would say that they are the consensus top Division III team. And when you have a Michigan commit and another guy, Bryce Simpson is going to be one of those guys who's probably going to pick up a late Division I offer. He's a junior right now. I don't know how his recruiting is going as of late. But Algonac, in my opinion, I put him number one for the small schools for this reason. They have gotten to the Division III title, so they have the postseason experience, right? But when you get all the way there and lose to Bridgman the way they did, you have a taste of, that you almost had it. The trophy was right there. It was in your hands, and then it wasn't. So now definitely a look of revenge. And they return a lot. So I would expect that there's no other reason why to say this team won't be at least in the finals, Gage.
Sitting on unfinished business, if you will.
Yes, sir.
And second up, we have Mount Pleasant Sacred Heart. This is a team that you had a big write-up on, Robby. What do you have for us?
Yeah, so Mount Pleasant Sacred Heart, just like Algonac, sits at the top of their division, I think, consensusly. But, we're going to talk about that team that's right below them that is definitely going to give them a run for their money. But there's a lot of stars that have been putting up some gaudy numbers on Mount Pleasant Sacred Heart. Grady Purat, he has hit 619 on the season,
incredible.
13 runs scored. Their senior catcher, Connor Stemke, he's batting .533 with 12 RBIs. And their junior first baseman has driven in 10 runs while producing a .375 batting mark. Those are some absolutely video game numbers.
Video game numbers for sure. And Beal City, you've got Caden Smith as that driving force over there, right?
Yeah, Caden Smith, the Kent State commit. We talked a little bit about Beal City in earlier episodes, and there isn't much else to say besides this. When it comes to high school baseball in the state of Michigan, there's one guarantee, and that's Beal City's going to probably be in East Lansing. At least they're going to make a run in this postseason. That's the only other thing I got to say about them. When you have as much postseason experience, as many state championships as they do, you can never count them out. I would say this is the 2 or 3 team in Division IV.
That's great stuff. And Ottawa Lake Whiteford, as of right now, 11-4 on the season. Robby, who do you like over there?
I love Nate Stevens. He leads the team in batting average with a .414 average. He's also got a .5 ERA. Talk about a guy doing it on both sides. Besides that, there's going to be a lot of guys that complement him as well. So I would love to see this Ottawa Lake Whiteford be one of those teams that kind of sneaks up in Division III and, who knows, take somebody's number, beat somebody that they shouldn't.
Could potentially do it. And finally, lastly, Inland Lakes. I know that we've got Jake Wiley over there. Robby, what do you have for us?
Yeah, he's driven in 12 runs with a .423 average, striking out just 6 times so far this season. When your strikeout numbers are as this late in the season are under double digits, you're doing something right at the plate. And their coach always said he knew they'd have decent pitching, but I think the hitting onslaught that they've had has been quite a surprise, and it's why they're 16-1 right now and sitting atop the top 5 in terms of those Division III, Division IV teams.
Awesome. And we're going to see where these teams go later on in the year. We only have 23 days until districts. We've got 37 days until the state final. We're going to finally start getting into our playoff look. We have a couple of districts in each division that we do want to talk about. Robby, Division I, very heavy. We're looking at District 15 and District 23. What do you like in District 15?
So there's 3 teams, and it's so unfortunate that this is how it has to come out, but that's just the nature of the playoffs, right? Novi, Detroit Catholic Central, and Northville are all going to play in the same district, and only one of these teams is going to come out and still be alive after this one. In my opinion, I got to give it to Northville. However, Novi, Uli Fernsler, he's been a guy that was supposed to kind of step up and be their ace. Yeah, he's done just that. He's had a couple great performances on the mound in his last couple outings. But expect this one. Don't be surprised, let's put it this way, if Detroit Catholic Central or Novi comes out with this one, but my pick is Northville.
Northville. I would say I think that's where a lot of people are favoring. And District 23, you've got Brother Rice and West Bloomfield. Robby, I think we've talked about them enough, but who do you got in Division 1 District 23?
Obviously the obvious pick is Brother Rice, but the fact that these two teams have to play, West Bloomfield might be the hottest team in the state right now. I would just say this. If there's a district final where Cole Duham and Slade Moore are facing off, two kids who I've watched grow up who are the best of friends, there'd be no better storyline in Division I. That one's going to be such a fun district to watch, and expect whoever wins that one to end up in East Lansing and probably crowning that state title.
That's good to hear. Now, for Division 2, we're looking at those two. We've got District 58 and District 52. Robby, what do you have for us?
Yeah, District 58 played at Centennial Field in Beverly Hills. Detroit Country Day, Notre Dame Prep, two private schools who have always played baseball super well in this state, and I think that matchup is going to be two big horses on the mound. They've got some great college commits. It's going to be a fun one to watch. I would have to say I think Notre Dame Prep comes out with that district.
And as far as District 52, let's look over there in Trenton. Who are you looking for in that one?
Yeah, it's the final. It's the third game. It's the rubber match, you say. Trenton, Southgate, Anderson. I got to say, if Caleb Kidd's on the mound, I'm giving it to Trenton. That kid is hot right now, and he obviously knows that offense. Now, Southgate, Anderson, they've seen him now, and they know his tendencies, right? But I still got to think the Trojans are going to come out with that one.
Now, we'll see in a couple weeks who's going to win that rubber match. Division 3, over at Olivet, we've got District 80, and then District 86 over at Blissfield. Robby, what are we really looking at this one?
Yeah, Jackson Lumen Christie, a team that has been always played. I mean, talk about a school with great athletics in general. They're thriving in all sports. Jackson Lumen Christie, really good baseball program over there. Has always had a number of talent. But Olivet, they have one of the most impressive records in the state right now. I got to think Olivet, especially with their coach coming off that 700th win too. There's just all the momentum is riding for them. I'm going to go with Olivet.
And as far as District 86, you've got Ottawa Lake Whiteford and Blissfield. Now, I'm leaning towards Blissfield. I like Blissfield in this one. Robby, what do you got?
Gage, I think I'm going to go with them as well. As much as, we had Ottawa Lake Whiteford in our top 5, Blissfield is one of those teams where if they get their pitching, they have a lot of pitching, right? And I think that is what helps you propel you to wins in high school baseball. And these are only one game. This isn't a 3-game series, a 5-game series like the MLB, right? So anybody can take it in one game. I like Blissfield.
Fantastic. And Division 4. Division 4, we're going to talk about Beale City again. We're going to talk a little bit about Cardinal Mooney too. But as far as District 109 at Beale City Sacred Heart, take it away, Robby.
Yeah, so the two top dogs in Division 4, and unfortunately they're going to probably be playing in the district final and not the state finals. But Beale City, as much playoff experience as they had, I think it's Mount Pleasant Sacred Heart's year. Give me Mount Pleasant Sacred Heart. All
right, and then as far as District 125, at Our Lady of the Lakes, we've got Waterford, Our Lady of the Lakes, and Cardinal Mooney. Now, I've liked looking at Cardinal Mooney all year. I think Cardinal Mooney's going to get out of this one. But Robby, what do you got?
I'm gonna agree with you. Waterford Our Lady of the Lakes is probably on paper the favorable matchup, but Cardinal Mooney's got a lot of guys. There's a tradition there, a winning tradition that Mike Rice set. Now he's not the head coach anymore. Cardinal Mooney's going to come out of this district and probably go very far in the state tournament.
Fantastic. Now, that's our rundown for Division 1, 2, 3, and 4. We will see in the next couple of weeks where these teams are matching up, where they're going to end up in those districts, and how far they're going to go. That is episode 6 here at State Champs for our Extra Innings show. Robby, you got anything else?
Nothing else, Gage.
Perfect. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll see you next week.
State Champs Extra Innings is presented by Lawrence Technological University. Be curious, make magic. Extra Innings is also brought to you by the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics. The Michigan Army National Guard, a proud sponsor of the MHSAA. And the Detroit Athletic Club Foundation's Michigan High School Male and Female Athlete of the Year Award.